Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome, Mr. Nominee. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Welcome to this committee. Kindly help provide your original certificates and original ID cards.
I have done so, Chair.
Mr. Lawrence Nazonga, welcome. Yes, exercise, before we proceed as another procedure, we will have a demonstration of what the blood
I, Lawrence Mwazonga Bokoro, do swear that the evidence I shall give before this committee on the matters under its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you. Welcome to the Committee on Diversity and Planning. A committee founded in the Legal Assembly, studying orders whose mandate, among others, is to fix and approve nominations in the Kingdom. Appointed by the Governor for the position of County Chief Officer in charge of revenue mobilization. We will engage you to determine the suitability or otherwise in holding the office which you have been nominated, pending the appointment of others. The committee is chaired by myself, Jonathan Fonda, representing the great people of our region. I invite our members to introduce themselves, starting with the vice chair, person, and later the staff will introduce themselves. Any member who has conflict of interest can declare it as introduced yourself. And proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Betty Thatcher, and I'm the vice person of this committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed, representing Bambawo, a member of the committee.
My name is Mary Andazi Malena, a member of this committee.
My name is Amu Mugatubo, member of this committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Joseph Munyoki, and I'm a special elects nominee.
I'm Honorable Theophilus Kalama Fondo, Executive member of the committee. My name is Ibrahim, member of this committee.
Sophia Bilal Chacha, member of this committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Rashid Odiako, MCMI Council, member of the committee.
Alfred Bali, representing my member.
There's no need to know this. My name is Edna Beko, member of the committee.
I'm Dr. Hima.
I'm Clara Dama, Salenda.
Friends to the committee.
Which were Grand Lady Gango.
Mr. Okoro, we are going to engage you in the next 1 hour or so to establish your stability or otherwise on the office to which you have been nominated. We expect you to see that we will answer all the questions which you clearly and precisely. We expect that we will address the committee through the chair, and also our members shall be asking questions through the chair. And last, tell us whatever we ask you. We shall give you time to tell us your story, who you are, and your journey through life to where you are now. But before, we need to compare with a few basics. Do you have a tax compare certificate? Do you have a certificate of clearance from the Higher Education Loans Board? Do you have clearance with the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission? Do you have clearance certificate from the Director of Criminal Investigation? Have you ever been charged or convicted of any offense in a court of law? No. Are you a member of any political party?
No, I'm not.
Are you a citizen of any other country apart from Kenya?
No, I'm just a Kenyan.
At a personal level, what is your financial net worth?
I'm about 15 million Kenya shillings share. Basically made up of houses, 3 houses, 2 pieces of land, livestock, machinery, and clothes.
You say you are about which property?
Sure, I'm saying about because they have not done a current evaluation, so maybe the values could be more because I'm basing it on historical cost, the cost at which I bought them.
Thank you. Please tell us the journey of your life.
Sure, I'll be brief to that. I'll just give the highlights because it's a long journey. But in terms of first, in terms of education, because I believe that's very key to this position of resource mobilization into bracket revenue, is that I happen to be, in terms of education, a master's holder in accounting. I also hold a bachelor's degree in commerce, accounting option 2nd class upper division, because I did the KCSC, the first lot of 844 and KCP. In terms of my professional standing, I am a member of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants, so I'm a fully qualified accountant. I'm also a fully qualified certified secretary. I also happen to be a member of the Institute of Human Resource Management and also a member of the Institute of Directors of Kenya. Coming to work experience, maybe it could be by coincidence, Chair, but I started my active career with the then local authorities. I started at Malindi Municipal Council across here. That's where I started off my career. And I started at the level of Accountant 3 then. And Accountant 3 at that level, I was the head of the revenue. So maybe by coincidence here today I am with the blessings of the committee as a chair. Maybe it's like I'm going back to the roots. So I started as the head of the revenue section at Malindi Municipal Council. That was way back in 1996. By the year 1998, I rose to the position of the town treasurer. Then that was actually the highest position in the finance department. and I held that position for 4 years, up to 2002. Then the mayor of that time is the current His Excellency, as Gideon might have now. So success being told around that area, I was very much part of the team, and maybe towards the tail end of my submission, I'll be able to highlight some of the success stories in that position, which I believe very direct bearing on this position that I have today been nominated. And with the approval of this committee chair, then I hope to be given the position. And it is that from there, 2002, I moved on to other institutions. Kilifi Teachers Circle, then it was called today it is called Imanika. Then on to, in 2006, on to Kenya Safari Lodges and Hotels, which is headquartered at Mombasa Beach Hotel as the finance manager. Kenya Safari Lodges and Hotels chair is a very perfect example of a public-private partnership, because as much as it is a state corporation, KSLH, some people call it that way, as much as it is a state corporation, it is just a state corporation by virtue of shareholding of KWS, Kenya Wildlife Services, holding more than 51%, but the other shareholders are private equity owners. So here today we are, as a country, we are talking of PPP, public-private partnership, as the way to go. And even in this position that I have been nominated of resource mobilization, PPP will be one of the initiatives that can be explored to enhance the development of this county. So I have that experience because I served at the highest level of a finance manager then on to Agricultural Finance Corporation, which that time had almost collapsed, but through a sessional paper which was drafted sometime when the late His Excellency Mwai Kibaki assumed the leadership, then it was revived and I was part of the team that was called in as General Manager Finance. And while I was at that corporation, I was privileged to serve for a certain period as acting managing director, and we were able to transform the institution to so much so that today it is still standing on its feet. But during that time, for those who are there and they know a little bit of the history of that place, the institution had literally collapsed. But today, thanks to some of the efforts and part of the contributions that some of us made, it is back on its feet. And then on after that, on to anti-counterfeit. Counterfeit, basically, these are people who protect what we call intellectual property, inventions, etc. That is the one institution of government which protects owners of IPs. And after that, then on to Southeastern Kenya University, which is in Kitui as the Chief Finance Officer. And now today here I am, trying to go for this position, Mr. Chair. But much more importantly than just that story, because story can belong to everybody. But much more importantly, Chair, and maybe why I am bringing myself maybe to this service with the approval of this committee, is that specifically while I was at Malindi Municipal Council and as the treasurer, I was actually the very first one to automate the rates and business register that time. We got assistance from DFID and we were able to automate that. We were able to carry a fresh valuation under the chairmanship of Wakili Hari Marandu, that was the chair of the valuation board. And we enhanced the revenue collection, which I believe, Chair, is very key to this position that I've been nominated. We enhanced revenue collection through these efforts, automation, valuation, proper monitoring and control mechanism by well over 250%. The result is the success story that is told about Malindi Municipal Council around that time, when now we snatched the prize of being the cleanest town in Kenya from Nakuru, and for once in a long history, we were able to check in the issue of strikes, because I recall that time, around September, December, strikes in county councils were the order of the day. But thanks to those efforts, we were able to contain that. So, Chair, in conclusion then, I want to say that even at the university level, I am a member of the, and I have actually put my letter even in the copies. I'm a member of the University Resource Mobilization Board, and I also happen to be the technical person of the university's public-private partnership committee, which has negotiated for a 5 billion hostel project, which is ongoing, and there are all those documents. So really, the resource mobilization, I can say, apart from being accountant of all that long story, this is one area that I'm very passionate about, and I believe I have the exposure, the skills, and the competencies to transform our great county of Kilifi. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Bogo, having been nominated for the position of County Chief Officer in charge of the resource mobilization, kindly identify your roles. Kindly identify your roles to give us the sources of revenue.
Chair, thank you. I want to believe, because from the brief history that I have picked from the county government, maybe this could be the very first time that the finance and economic planning department is going to have 3 officers. I understand it to be the chief finance officer, who was also doubling as the economic planning docket, but now we are 3. So I want to believe that with the approval of this committee, if we are nominated, we are going to be given job descriptions which will clearly mark the beacons, the 2 of us, as much as, of course, we are going to work as a team as part of the county treasury. But Chair, specifically when I read this, because it's very clearly resource mobilization, then revenue, I want to believe that maybe much of my focus will be in trying to mobilize the financial resources in the county for, of course, the implementation of the budget of the county and its various plans that are there within the county, the integrated development plan, the annual development plans, and etc. Now, in terms of the sources, Chair, particularly I will talk on the ones that then will require, directly will require my efforts or my contribution in realizing or enhancing. I will not talk about the national transfers, the ones that come from the national treasury, but just what we call the own sources revenue. And from the way I look at it, Chair, I can identify 4 major sources of revenue. The first one to me would be the rates and the rents. Rents from properties and rents both from the various investments that the county has, including, of course, houses and the market stalls, etc. So that source, rents and rents. And then there is the other source, which is associated with the businesses, the single business permit. Single business permits, that's a major source. And then we have cess from mining activities, including sand, the quarries, the coral blocks, etc. So the various collection points where vehicles do pay, that we call it cess. And then the other source is the so-called fees and charges. Those are the major ones. There could be small ones, but the major ones, I want to highlight those ones, Chair. And I believe then, if given that docket, with the exposure, with the experience that I have already talked about, including, of course, expanding the bases and looking at other lines to enhance, because honestly, we are all aware that there is even a move to reduce the national budget so that we make it realistic. That is going to have a direct bearing on what county governments are going to get, because it's based on a certain percentage from there. So really the hope then going forward will be to enhance the collection from the own sources revenue, the four that I've talked about, and maybe explore other initiatives like the public-private partnerships, where we will be able then to bring in more development partner with other people outside this framework with a view of now enhancing not just the service delivery, but bringing the much desired development in our great county of Kilifi. Thank you.
For that presentation, I will now give members the chance to ask some questions, starting with my vice.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Lopez, this is my question. What are the revenue streams for the county, and what measures will you put in place to expand the revenue base for the county?
Thank you, Chair. Maybe I have talked of the four, so very quickly I will revisit them, but then move to explain to this committee with your permission, Chair, in terms of what iterations and initiatives I can put in place to enhance its collection. I have talked of rents and rents. I have talked of single business permits. I have talked of cess. I have talked of fees and charges. Rent and rents. Chair, I have to admit that I may not be conversant, but I want you to believe, because there is a time period that you can be given, or it is provided for in law, after which you can carry out a fresh valuation. Because I understand there is a accountant, so if it is a graveyard, very quickly upon assumption of office, I consult and also read the law. But what I know is that if you talk of the central business district and the towns in the county, they are coming up and they are so many. And you realize, like I stay in Kilifi, near a prison area. That's where I reside. Even the time when I was here at the Municipal Council of Manila as an employee, that's where I was residing. And up to today, we are not paying the rates. There could be issues to do with ownership, but then the great county of Kilifi is providing service. Surely then for you to provide service, you need finances. What I'm trying to say here, Chair, is that there may be need for us to look at the valuation. When was it last done, for instance? Towns have grown. County is offering service. They say there can be no taxation without service. Now that service is being provided, why can't we tax these people? Including garbage collection. They are collecting, but we are not paying. And we are just next to the hospital. So maybe one of way of enhancing that source will be to look at it, and if it is permissible from the point of law, then carry fresh valuations. Not just Kilifi, I was giving Kilifi as an example, but I'm trying to say the urban areas which the county is providing service. Automation, extremely very key. As I said when we were there, we used it to have what were called red cards. It was a card, yellow in color. People will come pay, you have paid a half, and it will be updated manually. Now, surely, with all these properties which have been brought into this perspective of valuation, you cannot continue that way. So, really, automation, and if it is automated, how effective has it been automated? Are people, for instance, able to get their rent invoices? If not, why? Are people able to get their statements in terms of what they have paid as rents? If not, then why? So I believe by effective automation, bringing more areas to the evaluation, that's going to enhance. When it comes to single business permits, Chair, again, automation. Have we carried out, for instance, a business survey? If today a question is posed, how many wholesale businesses do we have in Kilifi County? Are we able to answer that question with certainty? How many service distributors, for instance, do we have? Is it so hard, for instance, to carry out a business survey and automate that, so that maybe on an annual basis, people get their invoices. So that then we move away from the traditional mode of enhancing the collection, where you give people bonds, threaten people maybe with the court action. Can't we do better, so that people, for instance, get their invoices, and the whole day exercise is reduced to one of compliance. It's just a team to go around, strong monitoring the system. That's what I'm trying to say, Chair, over ensuring that then they are at the same level as what was originally captured, and that is what they are supposed to be. So automation, and then carry out business intelligence surveys, so that even in the businesses which are even in the far-flung areas which are not paying, or it is even costly to enforce collection, then collection will be much easier and cost-effective, because you are using automation. That's one way of doing it, Chair, or what I intend to do. If this committee is going to approve my nomination, we assess automation straight away, then strong monitoring system, traditional collection methods of putting the people on some positions, waiting for vehicles. It is raining, it is sunny, you don't know whether it's going to pass, it's not going to pass, they are there. Nobody to monitor second person. If it is said it is carrying 700 blocks, that's it. Nobody actually to confirm any mechanism to check that. Those are some of the areas that, Chair, if I happen to get this position, very quickly put in place a monitoring system, so that then we can sort of seal the loopholes. And of course, the fees and the collection, again, we automate that. Where should the people move with the small receipts? Can even introduce CCTVs in some areas to seal the loopholes, and also be able to monitor what our people are doing out there. Because I think part of the problem, from now an ordinary citizen, because I don't have that very direct association with the counter as of now, as an ordinary citizen, we see what these people are doing. 5 vehicles they collected from 2, but who is there to say they have collected? Part of the solution could lie in utilization or deployment of technology, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Maybe taking a bit of time, but I feel like, Chair, I need to bring this up.
Thank you, Mr. Bokoro, but I will request that you summarize this.
Habari Bokoro. Bokoro, naona katika ile profile yako umefanya kazi katika vitengo vingi kuhusiana na mambo ya fedha. Ni kweli ama uongo? Na kila mahali unaenda unachukua experience, kisha unatoka unaenda kwingine. Umekuwa ukifutwa ama ukiacha kazi mwenyewe?
Part of them are on contracts, and part of them is looking for greener pastures.
Part kama gani? Part kama contract kama naona umerukaruka unafanya kazi
like Municipal Council of Malindi. That time remuneration was extremely very low, very low. So I moved to County of Kilifi as internal auditor, and then as the chief accountant. That's a SACO. And then finance manager KSLH, that's a big one. But of course that place for those people who know Mombasa Beach, because it's headquartered at Mombasa Beach. Tourism industry is not doing well at all. So moved it to AFC. AFC again was on contract. We were given contact, the letters are there. Then anti-counterfeit, deputy director, the chief officer, chief financial services and Kenya University. It's a relatively senior position. I'm part of the management, but you cannot compare that to this position. Why? Because I have even indicated the budget of the university right now is in the range of 1.9 billion Kenya shillings. With the decline in terms of student population, when Matiang'i instituted the measures to curb examination cheating, the future of universities in Kenya, particularly in terms of revenue and survival, financial survival, is an extremely very big challenge, and we may all know the rules. But
I have not finished my question.
Yes, sir.
Pale Municipal ulifanya kwa muda gani?
Municipal, I worked for 1996 to 2002.
1996 na 2002. Na Kenya Safari Lodge
Kenya Safari Lodge just worked for 1 year.
worked for 1 year. Based in contract ama
It was also on contract there.
yeah, in contract
In
for 1 year.
contract.
They gave the contract for 1 year.
No, it was 3 years. Yes.
Yeah. They gave you the contract for 3 years.
For 3 years.
But workers,
I worked chair, I just worked for 1 year.
why?
Because I managed now to get a greener place, as I have explained. Kenya Safari Lodges and Hotels, I was finance manager. Agricultural finance, in fact, to be very specific and to be honest with the committee, is that I was pushed from Kenya Safari Lodges chair to go and head the finance department at AFC. I was actually pushed that. That's why I was saying, as part of the so-called, though I don't want to use the word dream team of that time. So I will move it there.
You see, Chair, let this Mr. Bokoro answer me very clear because he has not answered my question, Mr. Chair. What I have asked, he has worked in Safari he got the contract for 3 years, and he worked for 1 year. So I really need to know clearly.
He says that.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, or through the chair, I worked for 1 year at Kenya Safari Lodges and Hotels Limited, KSLH.
Which annual turnover was 800 million. Is that correct?
The annual turnover, yeah, in terms of collection.
Yeah.
It was about 800 million.
800 million.
Yeah.
Mr. Lopez, as you have stated that you were leaving from one job to the other just because of green pasture. So what if now it happens, you get a green pasture that will make you leave this docket? Don't you think that it is going to affect the plans that you will be having and enhancing the revenue collection in our county?
Through the chair, I'm coming back home, chair. I think I have not come up, I have come of age. I'm talking of 52 years. I think I no longer have the energy I no longer have the energy, chair, to be moving up and down. And you know, with the experience and the exposure and the technical skills and the networks, like I have explained, if it is to negotiate with the Treasury, I know the people who are in the PPP unit of National Treasury. I have lived with them. So I feel with that network, etc., why can't I come back home so that then I put my service to the county of Kilifi, and as I do that, I will also be serving my people. I'm almost getting to the level of a grandfather, chair. So I think now I have come of age, and could it be by coincidence? That's why I started by saying, by coincidence, I started with the county, and by coincidence, with the approval of the committee, career-wise, it may terminate with the county.
This clearly explain what you mean by the PPP unit.
PP chair is, you know, when this public-private partnerships, which you can partner, bring about development, and there are various models like you want to say to build the houses. Say the county has a plot, like the various plots that the county has. If you want to put up, say, an estate, and you don't have, the county doesn't have maybe the finances, then you partner with an equity investor, maybe for a given number of years. There are models that you can use. Then they build, they will operate, within which time then you expect them to have recouped to have earned back their investment share. And then maybe if it is 15 years, if it is 20 years, the transfer, so it is BOT, build, operate, and transfer. There is a whole act chair, that public-private partnership. I know it is the public-private partnership of 2013, and the regulations were issued in 2014. So very elaborate. What is mainly required is one to have proper networks with those people, because my reading of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 is that as much as it may entail some bit of borrowing, as much as the county can borrow with the approval of the county assembly, but you also require the concurrency of the National Treasury, because the National Treasury is the guarantor of loans when it comes to getting private investors from outside Kenya chair. So there is a unit in the Treasury dedicated to this initiative of public-private partnerships, because it requires a lot of expertise. That's why I'm saying I have very strong connections with them.
Mr. Chairman, I want to add a question.
So that you summarize this.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask a question on top of just a response to what with your permission. So if I may ask Mr. Lawrence, so your intention is you want to privatize revenue collection when you're talking of PPP, or what plans do you have? Because the people are talking of PPP.
Through the chair, revenue collection and its own sources that I have talked about, particularly the four, what we call own sources revenue, the methods of enhancing the collection, I have outlined them through the chair. I have talked of automation. I have talked of bringing more ratepayers into the bracket. I have talked of putting in place a strong monitoring system and intelligence system. But the public-private partnership, I'm saying it is another way, Chair, that you can enhance. Because like there could be a very major, it can be like something like a dam, a very huge project that runs into billions of shillings. Maybe the county at that point in time may not be able to raise that much money to build that, but it's a very desired development in our great county of Kilifi. We are saying there is a window provided where you can partner with the people. In fact, a very good example of that, Chair, is the Nyumba za pale Pakistan, of the Nyumba za pale Pakistan at the stage of Pakistan, opposite, being built under PPP, public-private partnership. Equity holders are coming, they will build those houses, they will recoup the investment, give back to the county of
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First question. Before, looking through your biodata, it's evident that you ran away from Kilifi County to work in other areas because of finance or regulation of payment. Because what you say is that the payment was too low. And this tells me that you do not have the people of Kilifians in your heart. And I'm also worried that you are coming back. Is it because of payment that as a chief officer you'll be having maybe a huger pay, or what has changed so that now you find yourself, maybe you have Kilifians in your heart, you are coming back home. On top of that, question number two. Question number two. What is the take on marginal rate of technical substitution?
Through the chair, if I'm to summarize the chair, I said when I joined the Municipal Council of Malindi, I was an accountant 3, grade 10. But the town treasurer's position, I was acting. So grade 10 is not a junior, is not a senior, it's mid-level. Of course, at that time, we were aspiring. People were aspiring. Like, if you look at my qualifications as certified public accountant, a certified public secretary, masters, and all those other higher qualifications, One of the things at that point, we were trying to look for areas where there were training opportunities. And it so happened that when I went for an interview as an internal auditor now at Kilifi teachers, you know, they had a training policy in place. And it was actually through that training policy that I was able now to further my education and also professionalism. It's not to say that I had been given the position of treasurer, because I recall that time treasurer was on grade 5. I was in grade 10. So it was not so much of a senior position, and I was also looking at those opportunities. But of course, Chair, as I have already explained, I'm coming back home, no longer have that energy to move around, and I believe I will be now serving my people and my relatives while in this position. Marginal rate of technical substitution, I may not maybe be able to tell with respect to which subject matter, but of course marginal means contributory. Rate of technical substitution, there must be some certain parameter over certain parameter, so that then you say in response to this, this is how it is so much, it reacts to this. Like if it is revenue collection, for instance, and I have alluded to this, I don't know whether maybe Mheshimiwa through the chair is bringing that with respect to that. But what is, for instance, the current rate? What is the cost of collecting a single shilling in this account? What is that cost? Supposing now we want to enhance revenue collection, do we and we enhance the cost of revenue collection using the model that we are using by 2 shillings? Proportionately, what should it give us in terms of the revenue collection? So basically, the idea of marginal rate of contribution, it means some kind of a return. As this parameter increases, how is it relating to this other parameter, where there is that relationship?
Chair, I have two questions.
Yes.
The first one, I worked at Agricultural Finance Corporation, which is a state-certificated here. Corporation with a mandate of providing credit facilities for agricultural development. It had a loan portfolio of about 6 billion. How many farmers started being funded? Is the first question. Kilifi County. This is about Kilifi. Secondly, it is the concern, as other members have stated, you move from one place to the other. And in your explanation, you said you are looking for greener pastures. And my worry is, or my concern is, well, these companies, will these companies see you as incompetent, that is why they do not raise your salary? Or why did they absorb you after the end of the contract?
Chair, through the chair, FC has various loan portfolios for specific purpose. Crop development, seasonal, etc. that time. A good number, that time, the so-called SMECs had not so much taken root. This is small and the micro enterprises, where then you would include maybe SACCOs as beneficiaries. They were not so much within the purview of
before you proceed, the objective of this exercise is just to summarize. So I still insist that to summarize, you summarize it.
Yes, Chair. I will summarize.
You want to
Yes, sir.
summarize the response.
Yes, sir. There were no, Chair, to conclude, there were no farmers SACCO, but in terms of, so no farmers SACCO were being admitted as direct beneficiaries because of its lending criteria and the mechanism of collateral etc. But if it is in terms of contribution, because it is Kilifi, that time Kilifi branch was reporting it to Kiambu, that was the headquarters, and during my time I combined that one with Ukunda, and I also introduced another branch in Mpeketoni, and the headquarters I did put them at Kilifi. Up to today there is a regional manager at Kilifi. That was my contribution. As with respect to, in terms of competence, in terms of maybe competence, I have already explained through the chair that, of course, the training opportunities, greener pastures, a combination of several factors. It was not just a question of remuneration. In terms of my performance, chair, I will wish to draw the members to some of the success stories that I have put there in my CV, which actually can be verified. Like when I say I automated rates here in Malindi, single business permit here, clean audits, even at the university, I have been able to do accounts. The Office of the Auditor General comes, looks at the accounts, perfect, and qualified audit report. Even when I was here in Malindi, I was able to update the draft accounts, which were lagging behind by 7 good years without outsourcing. Other counties outsourced. Malindi, we did not outsource. I did them 7 good years, just across here. Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Lawrence, the docket here in question is very sensitive, and integrity forms part of its pillars. Can you tell this committee, if it happens that your integrity is put in question, what will be your take? That's one. 2, can you tell this committee about a time when a situation tested your integrity?
Chair, I want to believe that there will be a staff code of conduct, so that then it will not be left to the individual officer to decide. And once the individual officer then signs the code of conduct, then if a situation arises where a person's integrity is questioned in that particular position, then of course the procedure prescribed by the code of conduct should be able to follow its course. And I think in terms of some situations, of course there could be some situations where you are in that senior position. Particularly I know when I was at FC, and of course the people are coming, applying for loan, and they don't have the necessary documents for the loan, and they are very close people. Some of them, I may not be able to disclose their names, but they were very senior government officers, and actually from our area. One of them was even a PC, but I'll not disclose names, and they had defaulted, and we were to attach. But of course, Chair, that was what prompted, in terms of how I did address that, that was what now prompted some of us to think of putting in place some customer-friendly recovery mechanisms other than the ones that are just prescribed in the law. And that's what I was even saying, that as opposed even here, when it comes to single business permit, as opposed to bonding people, why don't we come up with the alternative ways of addressing some of those things?
So you're telling this committee through the chair that in the event there's a situation, you'll step aside and let
the code of conduct
take
place.
Through the chair. Mr. Lawrence,
Yes, yes.
The county government of Kilifi has not been meeting its own revenue targets for the last 10 years. The financial, for example, in the financial 2021-2022, the county was able to collect just at 26%. What could be the cause? And what are the measures? So I can see you have, in the previous responses, you have tried to touch the mention, but what could be the causes of this low revenue collection? Because we will be looking at you to see that we meet our budget revenue collection expectation. We say we need to collect 2 billion, we need to collect 2 billion. But here we are not even able to collect 50% of our county revenue.
Through the chair, the first thing is at the point we are putting the estimates, has there been, what were the assumptions underlying those estimates? Because you put the figures, particularly estimates, based on some assumptions. Could we have been overambitious in putting those so that then we put so many projects and some programs, and as we know, preparing a revenue-led budget, you will proceed with these programs. But at the end of it all, you will end up with what we call the pending bills. So the first point in terms of what could be the causes is, was there an overestimation? Were we overambitious in trying to put up these estimates? What formed the basis of these estimates, which we could not achieve? Second, did we put in place a performance contracting mechanism? Having known the sources, there are these ones up to this tune, then we are cascading to the various officers. Maybe the government enters into a performance contract with the chief officer responsible for resource mobilization. In that case, myself, I'll have people under me, I'll cascade. A person in rates, a person in cess, a person in single business permit, and then a strong monitoring system. Quarterly, say, reports for them to submit. These are your targets, well explained. So one of the reasons why maybe there wasn't the success was low, performance was very low, could be that there was no strong monitoring mechanism, which can be addressed, as I have already said, through performance contracting. Planning must be proper. Don't be over ambitious. The revenue sources must be clearly identified and informed by some kind of intelligence. One should be able to explain why you have come to this figure and not any other figure, so that then the variance or the difference, if it so happens, can be explained from the point of planning. You should be able to link the performance to the point of planning and say, this is what went wrong. Could it be again the business environment in which we operate? Like I was trying to note 2021, 2022. I think the effect of COVID was still. The thing is the effect of COVID was still being felt, because it was 2020 up to 2021. So quite a good number of businesses again closed the shop. Mr. Chairman, I'm trying to say the macro environment within which now the business operated in 2021 could have been affected by other factors outside maybe the control of the people who are there, like the issues of COVID, and that directly then had an impact on the revenue collection. Were the people empowered, for instance, properly, apart from monitoring? Who are the collectors? Were they empowered? etc.
Okay. Now, without being over-ambitious, without being the highest target of revenue collection that we have collected as Kilifi County in the year 2018-2019 was 864,608. What is your target if this committee approves your appointment?
Chair, the very minimum first is from the level it is. It should not be eroded by inflation, because if you maintain it at the same level, then in terms of service delivery you will go down, because then inflation will be eating into that. So if inflation is 10%, then that's the bare minimum I'm talking about. So for instance, if it is 26 million, 10% of that, not so much, but about 82, we should be talking of 900, but that will not even be performance. That will just be cushioning against inflation, so that technically we remain at the same level. We will not have done anything. As I have said, the chair, with the measures that and experiences, there are very many low-lying fruits which we can very quickly harvest. I can say I will increase that by more than 75% of this. So in the next 1 year.
Through Chair, you can realign yourself with the governor's ambition that you want to collect 2 billion by next year.
Yes, Chair. Yes, because then 100 already, and then 75. We will be talking of just about that 2 billion shillings, 1.8, 1.9, 2 billion Kenya shillings. It's very much doable, particularly with the blue economy. How are we positioning ourselves to harvest from the blue economy that we are talking so much? There is revenue there. We can't talk of blue economy and development when, if you look at the past of the county, there is nothing to suggest that the county has positioned itself to benefit from the blue economy. So align ourselves and the measures I have put in place. The beauty is, if I could be put under performance contracting, if I am not a person who can deliver, gracefully I exit, I call it a day.
Through the chair, the previous regime did
Yes.
what is called outsourcing revenue collection that was done through the raindrops. So the raindrop used to collect the county revenue. So if I may ask, do you believe in outsourcing revenue, and is it a better way of collecting the revenue? And if you manage to be approved by the committee, what are you going to do so that you can improve the revenue collection in Kilifi County?
One chair, through the chair, outsourcing revenue collection has to be done extremely in a very proper manner. I do read that some county governments have given that mandate to KRA. There are some who have given, I know them without mentioning names, but they have given that. But if you look at their monitoring system and how they relate and the way the contract was formulated, it was to the interest of the county. As things stand, and from an outsider, we have heard about this. But the first thing before you even outsource, you need to, is it that we don't have the ability to collect ourselves? What are the challenges that a company can overcome and collect, but us as a government, county government, we cannot overcome those challenges and collect ourselves? But a private company, not so much big to talk about, not so much big to write home about, can overcome those challenges and collect on behalf of a county. But the county cannot overcome the challenges itself and collect. What is it that we are not getting right? Somebody may need to revisit that area. But in the final analysis, Mr. Chairman, first point, carry out business intelligence. As I have said, establish the potential, so that when we talk of rates, what is the potential? Single business permit, what is the potential? Cess, what is the potential? Fees and charges, what is the potential? Then the targets, then the mechanism, automate. Can't we give invoices? Can't we put in place a monitoring system? We just follow up. These things, some other counties have done them. I've been to some other counties, even from a different perspective altogether. And the story which they are talking about there is a success story. Like Makweni, I've been there for about a month doing some bit of work, and I know what they are doing, Chair.
Next question, please.
Mr. Lawrence, my name is Joe Munyoki. Maybe can you explain to the committee the principles of governance as enshrined in the Constitution of 2012?
The principles of governance, there is principles and of governance. There is one of national unity, equity and equality, the rule of law, sustainable development and human dignity, transparency and accountability. All those then and good governance itself. All those form part of the principles of governance. And I think specifically those ones are outlined in chapter 2, article 10 of the Constitution. Yes, chapter 2, article 10 of the Constitution.
Through the chair, still now, during the time when you are still working at Kenya Safari Lodges, was it the same time that the organization had financial challenges? Or did it happen while still under your watch?
Through the chair, as I said, it was just, for me, it was 1 year, as I have captured, and there was posed a question. And thank you, because a member here has noted that there were very many challenges that time. When I joined Kenya Safari Lodges...
Chair, let me answer what has been asked. Because this guy is going around because... Chair, let him ask what has been asked by the Honorable here, the chairman. Yeah, sure.
We have requested, and we still insist that you summarize your response.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I wasn't part. By the time I went there, the problems were already there.
Because, Mr. Chair, why I'm saying this, Mr. Chair, we are dealing with someone who is professional in financial. So he's trying to... You see, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Bokor,
Yes.
Yeah.
there is a letter in your documents, presidential proclamation on fresh vetting of public officers. The purpose of this letter, therefore, is to forward the following names of the officers under your entities who are expected to resume duty with immediate effect. 1. Mr. Lawrence, Accounting and Finance. Why were you reinstated?
Chair, let him ask the question which was asked by Honorable Munyoka.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
For sake of clarity, Chairman.
Yeah.
Chair was not part of the. I was not part of the people who are there. When I went there, already Kenya Safari Lodges was on its law. Specifically for clarification. Then, Chair, with regard to that, maybe to explain, is in 2018, His Excellency the President issued a proclamation that heads of accounting and procurement in state corporations should proceed on leave so that they could be vetted and then, of course, be allowed back. It was an exercise which continued for 1 year. So if it is even vetting, I was even vetted pursuant to the presidential proclamation in 2018 during Madaraka Day. If members will be able to. So upon vetting, then I was, of course, you step aside to take a compulsory leave, you are vetted, you come back.
Why were you to step aside to that?
All of us, it was a presidential chair proclamation. All the accounting officers and the procurement officers in state corporations. That's why, in fact, if you look at that, there is another one where we were, in total, we were 561 in state corporations, what we call SAGAs, state corporate ministries, departments, and government agencies. County governments were not affected because they are governments on their own. But all the procurement officers and accounting officers, we were vetted pursuant to the presidential directive issued by Mr. Kimunya. So that was my results, that I was vetted and I came back, and that was 2019.
Due to time constraints, yes. I'd like to take one question.
Okay, Mr. Lawrence. Apart from the revenue source that we have, this is cess, collection, which also can we be able to introduce so as to add revenue to our country?
Revenues accruing from the blue economy concept. The revenues, because you get a commission from any initiatives that with the approval of the county government and the national government and a public-private partnership, because you get very huge commissions, should be able to add to that.
So, Mr. Bokor,
Yes, Chair.
let me take this opportunity on behalf of the committee to thank you for completing the exercise. Kindly take your documents, and if you have a word or so observation, in a few words.
I think just to thank you, Chair, for this opportunity. We hope that the committee will consider me favorably so that then I'll get an opportunity to serve the great county of Kilifi and the people of Kilifi. Otherwise, I thank you so much, Chair, for this occasion. Asante.
Once again, we say thank you very much. and wish you all the best.
Asante Chair.
For attending.
Asante Chair.
No.
Chief of Staff.